Welcome to my podcast, Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality. My name is Vickie Poole. I'm a master transformational coach and hypnotist specializing in habit change. And this podcast is sponsored by the Enlightened Peach. And this podcast is all about embracing our mosaic life. And some of you may ask, what is a mosaic life anyway? Well, it is recognizing that all the pieces of our life, the good, the bad, the indifferent, have all come together to make us who we are. Change any one thing, and we are different. With that in mind, I invite you to embrace your perceived imperfections and celebrate who you are. This podcast is unedited and raw, just like life. And I am your host, and I have a special guest that I'll introduce in just a moment. And this is actually not her first rodeo here, but so it's good to have her back. But in the meantime, I would love to have you to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. Do me a solid now. The only way we can get this out to even more people is if you leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. So now let's get started. So, Mikkel Leslie, I'm telling you, I am so excited to have you here because, well, I'm just going to share with everybody. She has a book out right now, but she hasn't been on Facebook as much as she used to. So I I got to worrying or concerned a little bit, where is she? Where is she? So I start looking around and I find she did post one little thing about her book and it was like, oh, she's got a book now. Let me reach out. So I reached out and said, hey, it was so much fun when you were on before. And it was a very different topic than what it is today. And so she has been changing by leaps and bounds. And I cannot wait to dive in and find out all the little things that have been going on in her world since I've seen her. And so, if you don't mind, Mikkel, just go ahead and just tell a little bit about you, and then we'll jump in.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mikkel Leslie, as Vickie mentioned, and I am someone that likes to make shit happen. I like to be able to find people who are just holding themselves back on one level or another and be like, no, you can actually go there and do it and make it happen. So I help make dreams come true through my
Ooh,
books,
love
through my
that.
classes. I know, right? And through my coaching too, and all the work that I do with my friends, my family, with everyone around me.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. So let's start with your book because that was the first thing that I saw that it was like, I'm reaching back out. And that's what I said. I see you got a book.
Yes. Yeah, so my latest book is called Money Shift, and it is a 30-day journal to be able to go from money stress to money yes.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. And I think I had mentioned to you, but I can't remember because it's been just a little bit. But um, I have a partner. She and I have a program called Mining Your Acres of Diamonds, which is a membership program. And then we also have a monthly membership. And then we also have a program that kind of branched off from the Mining Your Acres of Diamond. It's Rewrite Your Money Story. And so I go into a lot about the mindset that's going on with our past beliefs and who we think we are and why that keeps showing up over and over and over again. So when I saw the actual title of your book, I thought, well, my gosh, if this is not a synchronicity, I don't know what is. So I just thought it was wonderful. So tell us a little bit about this journal that you have, because I'm imagining, and I may be totally off base here, but I'm imagining that every day is filled with some kind of prompt that helps you break through some of those limiting beliefs, right?
Yeah, exactly. So over the course of 30 days, you have like a mini lesson. It's like a page to 3 pages. And then you go into three journal prompts to be able to help guide you through understanding where you're at with your money story now and where you want to be. And over that course of 30 days, so much changes because you're
Mhm.
putting your energy and your focus on your relationship to money. So it's been really cool to see how people have shifted, including myself, through it all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing I tell people all the time is the teacher usually gets so much benefit from what they're teaching because we're not teaching because we've got all this shit figured out and we don't need to think about it anymore, right? It
Mhm.
comes from a place of what is it that I'm really needing to work on? Well, they need it too. Here we go, so it's an amazing how all this stuff works, right? So, and I tell people all the time, I am not an expert at this. I'm not a gazillionaire. I'm not sitting there with my $1 million plane right here beside me for me to go on a trip. That's not me now. I don't know if that ever will be, but if it's not, it's because that's what I don't desire that, right? If it's what I really wanted, it would be possible. And I'm constantly correcting some of my self dialogue as I'm going along, right? For instance, let me just share real quick. I went to the grocery store earlier today, and which sometimes can be a little uncomfortable. But when I checked out, I rem it was amazing the shift because before I checked out, the lady in the line in front of me was talking to the cashier, and the cashier said that she likes going to Aldi's to get this one thing that this woman had bought because it's cheaper. It was $2 cheaper. And I'm thinking, $2 and you have to get in the car and you drive someplace else. That just seems ridiculous, which was a very big shift for me. I would go to a different gas station because I was saving a quarter. But then when I went to check out, I spent more money than I had intended, but in the moment I thought, well, that's more than I thought it would be, but hey, this is good. Look at all of this groceries that I have in my cart. And so it was a very big shift. And the thing that a lot of times people don't realize how much of a poverty mindset it is when you're driving across town to save $2. You
Yeah, there's
know?
so many different things that can pull up and show you where you're at with your money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was getting a family dinner at one point, and the person that was buying it was like, okay, like saw the number for the total and was like, that's a lot. That's a lot more than I had expected. So she went through all the different items and what was going on. And I talked to my husband about it, and he was like, well, like it's not like she doesn't have money problems and everything. And I'm like, no, like if she didn't have concerns with money, she'd just be like, whatever, like I have the money, it doesn't matter. But she
Yeah.
dove in to like figure out like where exactly everything was at. So it's
Mm-hmm.
so funny, like seeing it and like noticing it myself and how much work I've done and like seeing my own shadows with it all and being like, okay, like this is where everyone's at and it's not a problem. We just have opportunities to grow and expand in those areas if we want.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to want to get all the information about your journal. I will probably see if I'll talk to my partner, make sure she's okay with it. But I have a mindful journal, but I don't have a money type journal. So
Mhm.
I will see if my group would like to get your journal. So you got to hook me up with the link and all that stuff, okay?
What? Yeah.
And then we'll actually put it in the description of this podcast too, so that people can take it. I guess it's on Amazon, I'm assuming,
It is,
right?
yeah. Hmm.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So I'm excited. I'm excited to dive in there myself. And because as I'm doing this Rewrite Your Money Story program, I'm actually going back and looking when I was going through life coaching school and everything. We had a big component about money. Do you think I did all of it? No, no, I did not. So it was like finding a treasure trove of information. And how many times do we do that kind of thing, right? We've got all the information right in front of us. I've had it sitting there for all this time, but I didn't do anything with it. And so I love one of the things you said before we got on here was that like you were like working with people in person and one-on-one and stuff. And the thing is that a lot of people want to do it all themselves, but then they don't do it. And so that's where we come in, right? Because sometimes you just need that helping hand for somebody to say, okay, today you're going to do this. And then we're going to talk again. Whereas left on their own, they'd say, oh, the book says I need to do this. I'll do it later, right? So there's a holding somebody accountable and having somebody to talk to about it and everything. So how are you feeling about that? I know you just did this switch to doing that, and that's why you're not on Facebook so much now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, connecting with the networking events with my local community here. I've tapped into a local meditation group. And so that's been
Oh,
really
that's
cool to be able
nice.
to, yeah, connect with them and everything. Yeah, it's been cool, like you mentioned, with like having that coach, that support with you and being able to guide through with whatever you're going through and whatever you want to work on. Because that's one of the reasons why I turned to coaching and co-working sessions because I found that same issue. Like we get off the call and they may or may not do what they said they want to do, just because of nerves and questions and doubts and everything that comes up, which I totally understand because I go there myself. And so with this offer that I have, we dive in for 90 minutes and they are able to shift things, actually do things, and be able to be help guided through it all. So there's so much benefit to have someone in your corner throughout the whole process.
Yeah. So do you do that virtually as well as in person?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
All right,
Mhm.
cool. So kind of give us a little taste of what that feels like.
Yeah, so we hop on, we understand where we're at, being like, okay, like, what's the drama? What's happening? What are you holding back from? And really understand what is it that you want? Like, what is that next step for you to be able to make it happen? And it's been really cool to see how, just in one session, how much things moves with people.
Yeah.
A lot of people have come in with jobs and been like, okay, I need to get my resume together. I need to reach out to people. And they're like, I can't make my resume. And so we break it down and really understand what is it that they are hoping to, like, what are their strengths? It's so funny how many of us have a hard time talking about what we're good
Oh,
with.
yeah.
So it's been really cool to be able to break that down and be like, okay, like where did you build those skills? Where did it come from? And for others, it's been money stuff
Yeah.
of hopping into a new avenue and being so scared to not have a safety net. And then being able to help them see that they do have a safety net in different areas and be able to move forward with what it is that they want to do. So the gambit, there's so many different things that I worked on with them all, but the biggest thing is really allowing people to do what it is that they've wanted to do for so long.
Yeah, and help them to get their voice out about it too. Because, like most people, squish it down because they don't know how valuable it is. But one of the things that I've found in a lot of my coaching is that when I ask people what they want, they give me a litany of things that they don't want. It
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of training and working with them to get them to pop into that what they do want thing. Do you find that as well?
I do find that as well. It's so crazy to see how many people are held back. I mean, they're like, okay, like I don't want this, I don't want this, but then be able to be like, what lights them up and what like makes their heart sing. And it's so amazing to like get to that point where they like start to talk about it because they
Yeah.
just talk about it and go, and it's like, yeah, you should really do that. Please do
Yeah.
that for
Yeah.
everyone.
I know everyone, the ripple effect is
Mhm.
huge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I think a lot of people hold themselves back because they don't understand the ripple effect that
Yeah.
they can have in the world, right? We think, or people generally think that they're helping the three people that are sitting in front of them, right? But they're not even thinking about when those three people go home and they have a different mindset and they help somebody and then they help somebody. And I mean, it can be so huge, but we don't even see that, you know. But if you can get into the place where you know that's the truth, it gives you a different perspective on helping people, right? Even if it's only three, right?
Yeah. And it changes who you are in that process too. So
Yeah.
you even just showing up on your day-to-day basis expand like even more so too. So that reach in the future gets even bigger.
Yeah, yeah. So what have you found to be the biggest thing that's been showing up for your clients, maybe that you've had to help them with? Is there a common denominator or anything?
Money is a big one. That's where the book
Mm-hmm.
came in. I was like,
Yeah.
too many people are talking about this. I know I need to look into it myself. Let's go. Let's dive into it. So that's always been a component.
Mm-hmm.
That's come through with everyone. What else though? Choosing themselves at the end of the day. Like as we talked
Mm.
about, really understanding what it is that they want, allowing themselves to go there and do it. That can be so hard because so many of us have been set on this track. We just like go to work or work your business or whatever it is. And to so see out of those lanes can be really hard to see what it is that you want or what's not working and be able to go there and dive in because you're in this routine over time with it all. So it's been fun to be able to come in and break those habits, to be able to
Yeah,
see like
yeah,
you can choose something else.
yeah. Well, if is it okay if I share a story? I know I've shared a whole bunch of them, but this
Mhm.
one might be a little long. I have no idea. But anyway, this came to me yesterday because and this might be a little long, but anyway, my daughter and I, for whatever reason, we save jars. Like when you have a jelly jar, especially if it's a cool shape, or a avocado oil jar that looks really neat, or anything that is like a mason jar. we save them. And of course, they've been used for something else, so they have a printed label on them. And so sometimes you can get the label off very easily, and sometimes you can't. So we had several that were stuck up in the cabinet, and I was getting them down. I was putting them in the boiling water, and I was doing things to loosen up the seal, right? And then I would take them out and I'd pull off the paper, and then there'd still all be this glue and stuff. So then I'd have the scrubber. And so I'm doing this whole process, and I thought, all I want to do is take this jar to where it has nothing on it, right? It has no limiting beliefs. It has nothing, right? And as I was thinking about all this, I thought, how often do we walk around with our old label, maybe fully intact, or maybe we've got bits and pieces of our old label still attached to us and we haven't even worked to get it off? And so I feel like it was just such this light bulb moment, about how sometimes we only have this little smidgen of our label left, but it still makes a lasting effect for our future, right? And so it was like, and I may not even be making any sense because I haven't said this out loud to anybody since I had these thoughts. But to me, it was like, what I help people with, and I think what you help people with is to go ahead and really get underneath that label, get all the sticky stuff off, all the little bits and pieces to where it is a fresh jar with nothing on it, so you can make your own label and you can make your own things, everything new. And it was like such a visual moment of how that to explain that. And I may not have even explained that. I don't know. But it just felt like the time to do it. So there you go.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's so important to realize that there's so many different stickers that we put on ourselves of the
Hmm.
expectations that we have. And that's a lot of what my first book goes into. And where we're just leaving our lives not to our own authentic selves. And so being able to remove those and to see like, oh, this isn't actually me. This isn't actually what I want. I want to be able to open up and see what's next. But you first have to see that you have a label. And
Hmm.
that can be the hardest thing is being able to see where your spots are. And
Yeah.
typically they are where you have the most resistance in your life. So that's
Hmm.
where you can lean in and be like, okay, what is actually going on here? What is causing me strife? What is happening? And talking about it can go a long ways. Make it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, just it's amazing how just cleaning those jars had all this stuff going through my mind, you know. And of
Mhm.
course, I will say they're pristine now. They're nice and shiny and clear, and they're up in the cabinet with their little lids, and so they are set to go, right? And so the thing I want for people is to be able to have the clear, shiny outer see through their everything they want to be, and then they can just print what they want. It's kind of like, tell a new story, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful that analogy. I love to seeing that and seeing with it all. And I think saying that though, we don't need to remove all of it. We don't have to like there's some things that we want to focus on and that are going to help us move forward. And understanding where we want to go and doing it will allow those labels to be shown to ourselves because
Yeah.
there are going to be things that say, nope, you can't do that. Nope, don't go there. It's scary. It's too
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so when we're
You've
able to
never
like,
done that before. Why do you think you can now?
right, exactly. So many thoughts, so many doubts, so many
I
fears that hold us
know.
back from making it happen. But going there and doing it, that's where they show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So when you have someone that you work with that seems to really, you just feel deep down they want this change, but they're just not budging. They're not doing the things you tell them to. So where do you go from there?
Well, first of all, I actually don't tell my clients what to do typically. I have them
Okay.
guide themselves to what it is the next thing that they need to do. And so
Well,
having
let's
them say
just
that,
say they decided what they want to do, but they're not doing it.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, it's seeing why not. What's coming up for them? What are their excuses? What are they saying that they can't do it? Is it their kids? Is it their spouse? Is it the money? So often the money's so funny.
Yeah.
Uh, and seeing like, okay, what are those thoughts that are holding you back from going there? Do you want to actively choose to believe that? And what do you want to choose to believe instead? Our brain is a complex thing, but
Mm-hmm.
really there are so many different things that you can see and realize, be able to, I mean, once you understand it on a deeper level, then you can really see how when you change beliefs, they can sink in to a deeper level. So changing those beliefs is step one to be able to help you change your behaviors. And sometimes, like behaviors, you can change them first, but oftentimes to have that lasting effect, you have to change how you see them. So if you, one of the clients that I worked with, she wanted to be more of an actress in
Hmm.
her local groups that she was in, and she was holding herself in like there's no money and I can't do it, the kids, all the different things. And so we saw like all the different things that came up. And some of those she could work through pretty quickly and be like, okay, like the kids, I can get babysitter, my husband can help out. Most things are in the evening, so like things can connect there. Money though, like I gotta make money. Like, how am I going to do that doing this? And then being able to see like how much she lit up with it, how much is the positive side on it, and how much is it actually worth it to go there and do it. Because when we see that, when we see ourselves actually going there and allow ourselves to see that and to believe it and to live that truth ourselves, that's when we can be like, okay, yeah, like that's me. I want to be that. I want to go
Yeah.
there. Let's do that. And so by looking at that, you can see like all those old beliefs are like, nope, we're done. Like no more. Like no more am I standing in the truth that money is going to hold me back. I'm done. I'm moving forward with it.
Yeah. Ah, I love that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so I imagine you have that conversation with her. It was a very different thing when you were done, right? So
Yes.
did she decide she's going to keep doing the acting stuff?
Ah, she is. She's still
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah, I see stuff
Yeah.
on Facebook and I'm like, yay.
Yeah, don't you love it when you see someone that you've worked with and they are just in leaps and bounds doing amazing things from working with you? I
Mhm.
mean, it is so uh, makes my heart flutter and, it just kind of gets big. It makes me think of what is it in the Grinch, he says the heart grew so big, when he, at the end when his heart grew so big.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I feel like it happens. Your heart just keeps going and going and going, and your body almost won't hold it because it's so good, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we build that capacity for like love and like appreciation and gratitude. So the more
yeah,
we do it, the more we can spend into it.
yeah, yeah. So, if you were to give some advice today, or maybe you had something in your heart before we got on here that you wanted to make sure you touched on, what would that be?
Oh, you're braver than you can ever imagine. Like one thing that I've
Mm,
been leaning into recently is pushing my edges and leaning to the challenging things that I see for myself and seeing how I'm more capable than I could ever dream. And being like, yeah, that scary thing that I thought I couldn't do, like I can actually do it. And so
yeah.
the truth, that's the truth for everyone. We can do so many incredible things.
Yeah, but usually we have to find some kind of evidence for it too. I know that's for me. And one of the things I will be honest, and I'm going to be a little vulnerable here. One of the things that holds me back a lot of times is I create amazing programs, amazing groups. I have a Facebook group. I have all these things going on. And sometimes what holds me back is the reach out, the going and, connecting with people to let them know that it's all going on. I
Mhm.
can do a live without a problem, right?
Yeah.
I can do that easy. But when it comes to like doing direct messaging and things like that, that just kind of, for some reason, I get this, thing that, maybe I need to do this instead.
Ah,
And so do you have some advice for that? Because that's where I get stuck. Like well, I'll just be honest, I've got something I'm working on promoting right now. And so I was making a list of some things that I needed to do. And as I'm making the list and everything, I'm thinking, oh, so help me.
yes. Two things with it all.
Okay.
Um, let's see here. How do I want to do this? So the first thing is that getting yourself into reminding yourself why you're doing it. So often we lose touch when we get into that fear state of being like, I just have to do this. Like, why can't I do this? What's going on here? And you lose touch of how it's impacting people's lives or will. And when you can
Mm-hmm.
tap back into that why of why you're actually doing it, that can go a long ways. But also, It's a skill like anything else. And like this is an edge for you now. This is a challenge for you. And it's an opportunity to show you what you can expand into. And the best things oftentimes in business and in life really is to do things that get us a direct yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And reaching out to someone is that direct yes or no. And so it's super scary because you're like, I'm putting myself on the line right now in a way. And we make ourselves feel vulnerable and question ourselves. Is it worth it? Should I like all the different things that come up? But in reality, if you're coming from a place of service, of being able to be there for someone in a place of need, that can change everything. That can change everything for them as well as you too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I love it. I'm not sure I'm shifted yet, but I'm
Right.
getting there. Okay.
Well, and like you don't have to do, it's not going to be perfect. Like doing things
Yeah.
scary is a way to do things,
Yeah.
and it builds that muscle to make it happen. And so it makes sense. Like you can come back to compassion. Like it makes sense that you're afraid. Like there's so
Yeah.
many different things to say. Like don't do it. Like why do you want to do it? Like what's all the different things?
Yeah.
And like to realize like other people feel the exact same. I think everyone who's direct message people has felt this at some point in time, and it's going to
Yeah.
be okay. Like you won't die. I
Right.
promise you, you
Yeah.
will not die from this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think for me, it's like, uh, it's once I get into it and start doing it, then I'm okay. It's that push into it. I can
Mhm.
find a million reasons and other things to do. And so I will say that one of the things I have grown just in the past year more than I ever imagined I could. And so my life is almost unrecognizable from what it was a year ago, right? But it's like I still, and everybody that no matter where you are in your journey, you still hit that
Huh?
little place, right? Um, and so I'm working on that and to get to where that feels more comfortable, or maybe not even comfortable, but it
Right.
feels more doable, right?
Hmm.
Um, because maybe you can get really, really comfortable with it, but I guess it just depends.
Yeah, totally. I've been
Yeah.
working with my therapist about the same thing because I've put myself into this little box of being like, this is a safe space. I cannot exit this space, safe space. And it's been interesting to see that and to see like where I hold myself back from actually taking that next step that I want to do. It could be calling the doctor because I don't want to. It
Yeah.
could be like answering messages because I don't want to. It could be posting on social media. All these different things where I'm like, no, it's too much. I can't do it. It's too scary. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
different things. But the more that I have taught myself that I can handle it, that it's okay, that when I do it, I see it as more as like a challenge now. Like, how can I challenge myself today and like
Hmm.
push myself to be like, yeah, I'm a badass. Let's go. So what's the next thing that I can do? And
Yeah.
yes, there'll be moments where like the morning's best for me to do these things. But in the afternoon, like I can push myself even more because I'm a little tired, I'm a little cranky, I don't want to. But that challenge shows me like how amazing and capable I am. And so it's been really cool to push my own edges in these different areas of my life and see like, yeah, you can do so much.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like pushing those edges, as uncomfortable as it feels, it's almost like doing an amazing, hard workout and you feel like you're in hell in the middle of it. But then when you get finished, it's like, oh, that feels pretty good. It's
Right?
kind of that way to me because I've had some workouts that I thought I was going to have to stop in the middle, right? Because it was so hard. But then when I finished, it was like this exhilaration in your body. And I think you kind of get that same thing when you push yourself past your comfort zone, your comfort level, in day-to-day life, not even just in your business, but in day-to-day life. Like you go to the grocery store and typically you don't talk to people or you don't make eye contact, that kind of thing. And this one day you say, okay, today I'm going to speak to one person and I'm going to make eye contact. And that's all you have to do. And you do that. And then you feel like $1 million when you left because you leaped over this hurdle.
Mhm.
And so I keep finding different hurdles to leap over is what I'm getting at.
I think that's the process of growth because when
Yeah.
we stop doing that, when we stop saying like what is that thing for us that's holding like what we see, we're like, yeah, I could do this, but it's too scary. That's where we grow. That's where we expand into our next level and see what's really possible for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love this. I love this. I always love having conversations with you because it feels like it stretches me out more. And are you still doing anything with the human design and all that stuff?
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
coaching and co-working sessions totally do it there. And I have also still have my travel transformation program, and it's amazing. And we use human design there as well.
Okay, okay. Because that's what I know you more of as the
Mm.
human design person because you came on live on my um I, you did it on my podcast, but did you come in my group and do it too? I can't even remember. I'm not sure.
Don't remember either.
I don't know, but if you haven't, maybe we should.
Ooh, yeah.
So the thing is that I really think the world of you, and you are so sweet, so cute, and your energy is so infectious that I love having conversations with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and chatting a little bit more. It's always fun to connect.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So as we are getting to a close here, I'm just going to take a breath and see what needs to come up now. So you said something about another book, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, well, that sounds delicious. Go ahead and give us a little bit of something, something on that.
Right, yes. So with the people that I've talked to about the job hunt, it is a book about aligning to the job of your dreams and
Hmm.
the process of going about getting it, getting into the right mindset of it, and owning what it is that you want. So that will be released later this year sometime, but it's been really fun to dive into and make happen.
Yeah. So it's going to be when? Later this year, you said?
Later this year, sometime.
Okay. Well, you'll have to keep us posted. Um, because, there's a lot of people that, especially with the way things are, that are having to reposition into a different company or even a different profession altogether.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are changing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, we can always look at it as it's making things better. We may not know how yet, but it's making things better, even though it may kind of feel a little uncomfortable in the moment.
Right.
And thank goodness they've got you to help them to bridge that gap and be able to see what's possible.
Right. Yeah, I see this time as an opportunity to check in with ourselves of what it is that we really want because so many things are changing that what we thought as the normal of the expectations that we typically held aren't true. So
Yeah,
we get to like remove those labels and come back to like what who am I? What am I doing? What do I want to do? How do I want to impact people's lives? Like all of that we get to open up and see for ourselves.
yeah, yeah. And when COVID happened, right? Did that make a massive shift in everything? I know my business shifted drastically. Even
Mhm.
so many different industries shifted drastically. So it's just maybe we're on a 5-year trajectory on everything has to shift or something.
Right. Yeah. Big shifts every, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
happening. I'm guessing it'll decrease like 4, 3, 2. We're going big. We're changing.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Well, thank you again for being here and sharing your amazing books and your authority with all that you do. And I'll have some questions for you later, I'm sure. And so, just everybody that's watching or listening, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and then make sure that if there's something that Mikkel said that really gave you an epiphany, make sure you put something in the comments and let us know because I'm sure she would love to know your thoughts.
Love that.
All right. So remember, the best way to predict the future is create it. And I will see you guys soon. Mwah.